in this video, I'm going over what the Amazon Vendor Born to Run program is and how do you actually use it. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Benjamin Bolshinsky. I used to work at Amazon in the vendor management team, and now I offer consulting services for Amazon vendors to grow their accounts. So without further ado, what is Born to Run? It's a program that allows vendors, those using Vendor Central, to request purchase orders, for any product by telling Amazon how many units they believe they will sell in 10 weeks. So basically, once you've got access to the program, you submit a request, an offer for a product or any number of products. You submit the quantity that you think you will sell through in 10 weeks, so around 3 months. Amazon will review your offer request, your submission, and then they will either approve or reject that submission. If approved, then Amazon will raise a purchase order for that quantity that you submitted in the Born to Run request. Once you get that PO, it's a standard PO, you deliver it to Amazon's fulfillment center as normal and you invoice Amazon as normal. The caveat is that you have 10 weeks or almost 3 months to sell through that quantity that you've requested. And then after you've sold through that quantity, that's the Born to Run offer is closed and you go about on your merry way, growing your account as you normally do. So that's kind of the program in a nutshell. And so you might be asking, why does it exist? Why is it important? And so if you run a vendor account, you've probably come into the situation where you've got products listed on Amazon, but Amazon just won't order it. They won't place any purchase orders, particularly for things like new products or products you've recently added. And so this is where Born to Run really helps. It helps address that pain point. So, if you're out of stock, if you've got a new product that Amazon won't order, obsolete lines that you're just sitting on lots of inventory without any POs, or you expect to be selling more of a particular product over the next month or two, then this is where Born to Run, you can get a Born to Run offer out there and get a PO for quantities higher than you would otherwise organically receive through Amazon's automatic ordering system. And so some other benefits, ultimately, the reason why a lot of our clients derive a lot of benefit from this is because it places a lot more control into the hands of the vendor than otherwise would be the case. Amazon's ordering system, it's all entirely automated, hands off the wheel, algorithmically driven. But Born to Run gives vendors or our clients, for example, a bit more control and a bit more say over Amazon's ordering system. You as a vendor, as a supplier, have probably a more accurate demand prediction than Amazon does, particularly for new products, so you can better influence their ordering system as a result of this program. Reduced missed opportunities due to out of stock. Yeah, again, if you're going to run a promotion, Amazon doesn't know you're running a promotion, you expect a higher customer demand, and so this is where Born to Run can really help alleviate some of those potential out of stocks that might occur. Supporting new product launches, probably one of the best use cases, demand spikes, and so that's some of those instances where Born to Run can really kind of shine. And so the two major use cases, as I mentioned, new products, pretty straightforward. Amazon just unlikely to order your new product if there's no sales history, if they don't have a reason to order it. And so Born to Run, you can kickstart that ordering process and just, significantly increase sales than you otherwise could. So that's pretty clear. And then the other use case is, say, for example, you expect to sell 1,000 units of an existing product next week, Amazon's ordering system, automated POs might forecast 200 units. They've got no way of knowing that there's an extra 800 units that you're going to sell. Maybe you're running a promotion, a market promotion in the wider market, or some sort of media campaign, and so you can bridge this difference: 1,000 units of expected demand less the 200 that they will order as part of their automatic POs. And so you can take that difference to 800 units and you can raise a born to run order for that quantity. And so then Amazon will have the entire level of stock to meet your demand. Without the born to run program, you'd miss out on 800 units of sales. So that's why it's important for forecasting. And so what's kind of the caveat behind born to run? I mean, it seems too good to be true, right? Like, you've had this issue where Amazon just don't order any of your products, and all of a sudden you can tell them how much to order. As a retailer, you can totally influence their ordering process. So there is a caveat, and the caveat is that each time you submit a born to run offer, you've got a 10-week window during which to sell that quantity that you've requested that they order through born to run. And then for any units that you do not sell through that 10-week period, you've got two options. The first option is product returns, where most of our clients use. And then the second is what's called a retention fee. But honestly, like, the way you think about it, Amazon have to hedge their bets, right? Like, if they're going to order a new product with no sales history, no sales demand, like, they have to mitigate their risks, mitigate their potential oversold situation. And so this is how they do it. And so the first preference, the first scenario is product returns. So this is where if you don't sell through the entire born to run offer you've requested, Amazon can just return the stock to you. They just send kind of that difference back. The other option, retention fee, instead of them sending the stock back to you, they will keep those unsold units, but instead they will charge you a fee equal to 20% of the cost of the unsold units over the 50% sell-through rate. And there's also a surcharge fee charged on all products with a below 50% sell-through. So in other words, if you sell more than half of that born to run offer, the fee is 20% of the unsold units, the cost of the unsold units. If you sell under 50%, less than half, then they will also charge a fee on those products under the 50% sell-through. But really, the question you have to ask yourself as a vendor, as a supplier, if you're okay with product returns, I would probably just stick with the product returns option. Whereas if you want to mitigate product returns, you don't want to have any stock return to your DC, then the retention fee might be the better option for you. So, and then we go through the guide of how to actually execute this in Vendor Central. So the first step is you need to gain access to the Born to Run program. This is typically done through a vendor manager or an account manager. You provide them with your vendor code and a returns address, assuming the returns option is the one you want for those unsold units. And then once you've got access to Born to Run, the program, you should have a new menu in Vendor Central called Vendor Initiated Orders, which you can see on the screen here. And that's where you go to submit those Born to Run offers. After you click on the Vendor Initiated Orders section and you want to submit a Born to Run offer, it's a pretty straightforward process. Name your offer. I mean, just something to track, I guess, your Born to Run offer. It doesn't really make that much of a difference. Vendor code, what is the ordering vendor code? Use that one. And then click on Next. Then this is where you choose the disposition fee for unsold units. As I mentioned, either returns or retention fee, depending on which option you would prefer. And then step 4, this is where you put the products that you want to include in the Born to Run offer. Within each Born to Run offer, you can include up to 50 products, but you can always just have multiple offers at any given time. So yeah, this is really kind of an issue. Just add the products, the ASINs that you want to include in the Born to Run offer. The other thing to keep in mind is when you've got the Born to Run program, Amazon will typically place a cost limit in terms of how much products you can actually submit. In most cases, when you start off, this will be around 10K. But as you use Born to Run, as you sell through the offers, this limit will continue to increase to 20, 30, 50K and so on. So in my experiences, probably the limiting factor is that Born to Run limit, particularly if you're used to shipping Amazon in pallets in larger quantities. But as you grow, this limit will increase. So anyway, here you type in the products and then you add the quantity for each product that you want to include in the Born to Run offer. Typically, this is like I would just do the MOQ for new products. If it's an existing product, obviously based on how much you want them to order and to sell. But for new products, you can just include the minimum order quantity, and that should be fine. Step 6, this is where you review it. So it will have the quantity for each product that you want to include, the product cost, and then the total value of that product in the Born to Run offer. After you've reviewed these, you're happy with it, you click on this checkbox bottom left and then click on Submit Offer. And then that will generate a Born to Run offer, which will get reviewed by Amazon. So you can see it on the screen here. It will have each of the products. It typically takes, I think, a couple hours in my experience for them to review it, for the system to review it. And then either you can check each individual product you've included in the Born to Run offer. Either it will be accepted, which is great. You should get a PO for those products within 24 hours, or it might be rejected, as these two examples on the screen have here. Common reasons why they might get rejected. Super unprofitable, low selling price products, the system might auto reject them. And then some other instances that we've seen, for example, if you've set up like an incorrect product dimensions. For example, we had a client that accidentally added a length of product of 3 meters. Now, Amazon's warehouses can't actually inbound products that are 3 meters in length, at least not in the case in Australia, they can't. So the product was automatically rejected. Some other cases, maybe, there's no cost price, there's the MOQ might be really high, things like that. So it's worth just scanning through that the product attributes, the ordering attributes specifically are correctly set up for the products you want to include. Cool. And then that pretty much concludes the Born to Run process. For all of the products that have been accepted, you should get a PO within 24 hours or so. And then that 10-week period begins once you've delivered that PO to Amazon's fulfillment center. And so you've got a 10-week period to sell through that quantity. And this is where, advertising, promotions, and running a strategy to really drive sales above your competitors is super crucial and important. And that's kind of where the fun begins, is driving those sales. Cool. And so that concludes an intro into the Born to Run program. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Thank you. Bye.